Hello and welcome to our Betfred Sports Talk here at the Quest Media Network studios. I'm Lewis and I'm joined by Peter Spencer from Betfred. How are you doing today, Peter?
Yeah, great, thanks very much.
So there's only one place to start really, the Champions League. Man City absolutely obliterating Real Madrid and they're through to the final against Inter Milan.
Yeah, it's possibly the best ever City performance I've ever seen. And I've been watching them for like almost 50 years. It's incredible the way that they performed that evening at the Etihad. It was just men against boys, and there were no mugs. Real Madrid, they came there to Manchester as, well, not the favourites, but looking like they could put up a half decent show. Thought the tactics were all wrong from Real Madrid. They obviously wanted to give City the possession and try and catch them on the break, but that just wasn't going to work. I mean, Kyle Walker was in phenomenal form. The way that Stones drops into midfield is excellent as well. And as for the players up front like Haaland, Grealish, De Bruyne, and then it was Silva who popped up with the 2 goals. City were 20 to 1 to win 4-0 in that game, and it was Silva was 16 to 1 to score the first goal, and it's no surprise we didn't get many winners at all on that occasion. We had lots of people on City to win and go through, so it was sort of broke even. But at the end of the day, it was highly unlikely that City would win 4-0 against Real Madrid. Now they play in the final against Inter Milan, and they're odds on for that as well. So I can imagine that the treble is hugely on now. And that brings us into the facts about the Premier League title race, and well, City are 1 to 1,000 now to win that. Arsenal have drifted out to 80 to 1.
And of course, City facing Chelsea, they can get the job done this weekend if they beat them at the Etihad. And elsewhere, Arsenal are facing Forest.
Yeah, well, City are 2 to 9 at Betfred to go and get all 3 points against a very, very inconsistent Chelsea. What's happened to their season, no one will ever know. That's what happens when you start changing the managers part way through. Chelsea 11 to 1 to get anything out of that. No surprises really. Betfred have Haaland 2 to 1 to score the first goal. Alvarez, I mean, unfortunately it is for him. Every time he comes on, he seems to score. He can't start because of the brilliance of Haaland. Having said that, he may find a way of getting Alvarez on the pitch. Anyway, he's 5 to 1 to score the first goal with Betfred. Phil Foden is another one he can't get in the starting 11. He's 6 to 1. Mahrez, another one. These are all players who probably will start. Foden, Alvarez, Mahrez, because he'd be wanting to keep some of his players back for games to come, which of course is the FA Cup final against United and the Champions League final against Inter Milan. De Bruyne, he's 10 to 1. I thought it was unusual for him to start arguing with the manager, but there does seem a bit of edginess between those two. I think he wants De Bruyne to hold the ball more and not go for glory as quite so much, but he's going to argue with the best midfield player ever to perform in the Premier League. So we do think it'll be City's title, obviously, and City for the treble, the way it's going.
And have you got any odds for us for that Arsenal game against Forest?
Yeah, Arsenal against Forest. Well, Forest are 9 to 2. Arsenal odds on 8 to 15 with Betfred. So we do think Arsenal will win that, and cause more problems for Nottingham Forest at the bottom of the table. For relegation, we've now got Leicester and Leeds both odds on to join Southampton through the trapdoor. Betfred have Leicester 1 to 7, Leeds 4 to 11. Nottingham Forest edging out of it slightly, I suppose, 9 to 4. As are Everton, they're 3 to 1 to be relegated.
And moving on to the top 4 race, United facing Bournemouth this weekend in a must-win game, and Newcastle can actually secure top 4 this weekend if they can manage to beat Leicester on Monday night.
Yeah, for the top 4, obviously City and Arsenal have got the first 2 places probably in that order, City then Arsenal. So we've got Newcastle, great win against Reading. They're 1 to 20 to go on and secure a top 4 finish. United 1-5. So we do think United will get a place in the top 4, which would be fantastic for Ten Hag in his first full season. Liverpool, well, they just keep winning, but they've probably left it too late now. They're 11-4 with Betfred for a top 4 finish. So United are against United are playing Bournemouth on Saturday, and that, as you say, is something of a much-win game. United 1-2 with Betfred to go and get the 3 points. Bournemouth 5-1. Marcus Rashford, key player for the Reds this season, out injured, but he's 3-1 to score first. He's likely to be back for this game, of course. Anthony Martial 4-1. Sancho 5-1. Garnacho, he's becoming clearly the fans' favourite now. He's 11-2 to score the first goal. And Fernandes, who often gets on the score sheet, and he does antagonise some supporters with his constant bickering with the referees. He's 13-2 to score the first goal for United at Bournemouth.
And moving on to the Challenge Cup, St Helens facing Halifax tonight. How do you see that one going?
Well, there's only one winner there. St Helens 1-40 to go on and get into the next round. It is straightforward, you would imagine, for St Helens, and probably rest some of the superstars in the squad. To win the Challenge Cup outright, Betfred have Saints 5-2 favourites, followed by Wigan at 5-1, Warrington 11-2. Warrington are playing in the tie of the round at Catalans. They're 6-5 to go on and win that. Catalans are favourites 8-11. Salford, they have a kind of an up and down season, as they often do have. They're 16-1 to go on and win the Betfred Challenge Cup outright, and against Salford at home, well, they're odds on to go on and win that game 8-15 to do so.
And we've got quite a nice story to end on. We mentioned last week a man from Scotland had won just under £50,000 from a £1 bet. You've been in touch with him and you found a bit more information about him.
Yeah, well, he had this £1 each way, lucky 63 bet, and he'd won virtually £50,000, 49,753 to be exact. He's 77 years of age. He's worked for 50 years in the shipbuilding industry up there in Scotland. He lives in Glasgow. He picked 5 horses, well, he picked 6, but one proved to be a non-runner. And he picked them all randomly. It took him half an hour to make his selection. He picked most of them randomly, apart from one, which is called Jordan Electrics. And he picked this horse because he's got one of his 7 grandchildren is called Jordan. And so that's why he picked that horse. And that went off at the longest odds at 10-1. So it really did boost his accumulator bet. He's going to keep most of his money and share it out with amongst his family. And it's basically great that a fella who's worked all his life in the shipbuilding industry, how grueling must that be, 50 odd years, should get some good fortune in his later years.
Yeah, that's a very nice story, and congratulations to him. And if you do fancy a bet, you can bet online, on the app, or in Betfred stores.